everyone, and welcome to another minisode of the investigation game. Today I have with me Rachel and Megan.
Hello.
And on this episode, we are going to be talking about Valentine's Day scams, or just love scams in general. And we're gonna kind of talk about how to avoid them and kind of what to look out for a little bit maybe. So first thing we're gonna do is have Megan tell her scam story.
Hello. Yes. So I came across an ABC News article about a man in New Jersey who defrauded over 30 women using online dating profiles. He posed as if he were in the U.S. military and said he was stationed abroad. So that's why they could never meet him. And he was using either fictitious or stolen identities to create these profiles. And what he did was he would say he had these gold bars. He had purchased these gold bars. He needed them transported back to the U.S., but he needed money to do so. So these women would either wire him money or send him a personal check or a cashier's check. And then obviously they'd never heard from him again. Mm-hmm. So one of the things I thought of in the story is if a person has enough money to buy a gold bar, then they should have enough money to
Red flag number one.
Yeah, transport it back to the U.S. Another thing I thought of is you can Google an image. So you could take his profile picture and Google image it just to see if the same name shows up, or like see who's
or if it's like a stock photo.
Yeah, stock photo, then it would show up everywhere. So those are kind of some ways you can prevent that from happening. I will end on a good note. I do know two people that met on the internet, and one was legitimately in the military, and they're not married. So it can be legitimate, but there's some red flags there if they're asking for money. That's one of them.
Yeah, and I would wonder, you probably don't know this about your friends, but like how long did the relationship go on before they met in person?
They met in person pretty quickly.
Yeah.
So that's, if they're saying they're in the military and you can at least FaceTime.
Yeah.
I mean,
there's ways to see each other even if you're abroad.
Mm-hmm.
So
I think that's another thing. If you're dating someone online and they keep finding excuses to not make any face-to-face contact, that's a total red flag. That would totally weird me out. Mm-hmm. Like, we've all seen the show Catfish.
Yeah.
You know?
I haven't, but I know what it is. But yeah, like I Skype with my family in Minnesota all the time. Like that's kind of standard these days. So that is super shady.
Exactly. When I did long distance for a little bit, and pretty much our entire relationship for 2 years was FaceTime.
Yeah.
Like, the whole thing. So it's like not impossible to see somebody. So I just...
That one's interesting too that he was in New Jersey, because I was reading about how a lot of them are still like international, and so like a red flag can be like if they say they're in the U.S. military but their English is not very good, or like if they tell you to mail something to Africa, like that's usually a big red flag, but it can happen right here in the U.S. too.
Yeah, and I did ask a friend whose husband is in the military if you can verify someone's enlisted. You can, but you need their social and their birth date, which if they're scamming you, they're probably not going to.
If someone went to me and I was dating online and they're like, hey, can you send me like $1,000 or something? I'm like, cool, can I get your social first? Because if you want that from me, I need something from you. Like, I would try at least.
Although who knows if they're full on like identity fraudsters, like they could have
legit. Yeah, it could be a legit social, just not theirs.
Oh gosh, that would break my heart. Just falling in love with this person that doesn't exist.
Yeah, or does exist, but like they actually don't know who you are. Like if it's a total impersonation.
So that kind of brings me to the story that I did this week. Is a man who just kind of fell in love multiple times. Just looking for love. So this story is from the Oakland Press out in Bloomfield Township, Michigan. This man in total spent $56,000 to it was through a online dating site called Zoosk. So all these women that he met were through this one online dating site. So it's not multiple sites, just one site. And he would meet these women, and he even video chatted with some of them. Like, so he saw them. And what they would tell him was they needed money to claim their inheritance or to avoid an abusive boyfriend or to help with their medical bills or their car bills or something. And so he would send them all that money, and in total it came out to $56,000. And it was, I believe, like, I don't know how many, it didn't say how many different women there were, but like he sent money to all of them because they all needed help. And it's just so heartbreaking because he just wanted to help people, you know?
So were they all in on a scam together, or was it like he just got really unlucky and kept running into scamming women? Or do they not know because they never caught them?
It didn't explicitly say in the article, but I think it's just the whole site was a scam because it was all one site that he was on. It wasn't like
and
I've never heard of it.
Yeah, me either.
Like it's not it's Match.com.
Yeah. If it doesn't have commercials, maybe.
It's a red flag.
So I guess the big question is, this guy, he FaceTimed these women and other people, like they have little ways that they verify that somebody's legitimate enough to send them money. So I guess the big question is, like, how do you avoid something like this?
I think for one of his is like, it's kind of a red flag that every single woman
is asking you for money.
Yeah.
And it's on a site that like you've never seen a TV commercial for, or, you know, just doesn't.
Yeah, maybe Google the site in itself to see if there's any articles about it or anything besides the site itself.
Mm-hmm. And that one's kind of interesting too, because these romance frauds are like growing. I can't remember the exact number, but I know the FBI, I came across something where they say like since 2015, like every year, it's like an increasing amount of money that people are reporting that they've been swindled out of. But the majority are men perpetrating the frauds, or at least people pretending to be men. And a lot of times they look for like older women that are widowed or divorced, and maybe like kind of lonely, and really have that like just really giving, like, like, you know, I think they're just maybe an easier target. So that one is kind of unusual too, because it's a guy.
Yeah.
And I don't know what you would do other than just knowing or kind of doing some due diligence about the dating site that you're using.
So I know you have a little bit of information on what people can do.
Yeah. So kind of for the more general or the more common types of cases, the FTC and the military also has, the U.S. Army has put out some information on this, because so many of the scams are people that are pretending to be service members. But like Megan said, just reverse Google image search on the person's dating profile pictures. That can be a red flag. One I thought was really good was actually searching for whatever job they tell you they're doing overseas and then scam, because a lot of people will kind of reuse the same types of things, like oil rig worker scam, or, you know, U.S. Army scam. And if you do think that you've sent money to a scammer, the best thing to do is contact your bank right away, because they might be able to, you know, reverse it. And then make sure you notify the Federal Trade Commission, the FBI. They specifically have the Internet Crime Complaint Center, and that's ic3.gov. So that's kind of who handles that. And then notify the online dating site if that is how you met the person. And another thing that I thought was really interesting, or a potential issue, is that you might not just be being defrauded, but you could be an unwitting participant in money laundering. If, you know, if they're saying like, oh, I'll pay you back later, but whatever. Or, you know, the whole like, I need money to get my inheritance or to transport my gold bars. Like, even if you do think like, oh, but I'll be getting money for it, could still be a money laundering scheme.
Yeah, that's a whole other thing. So I guess, like, I would say my biggest word of advice is, if you're going to give someone money, make sure it's someone you know and someone you care about.
Essentially, do not give, people can feel like they know and care about these people, but the biggest thing the FTC says is just do not send money or gifts to someone that you have not met in person. Like, that's just the bottom line. Don't do it. And like Megan's friends, you know, even if it does turn out to be like real, you're going to get to see them. Like, people in the military aren't stuck there forever. Like, they have leave.
Yeah,
you know?
and they have ways to communicate.
Yeah. Hopefully we'll see a decrease or a change in this trend of more and more people being defrauded this way, because it is pretty sad, especially when you think about like older people, like maybe that's their retirement, you know, money that they're counting on.
And like the hardest part is like, they're playing with the fact that people just want love.
I know.
You know,
it's really taking advantage of like
a vulnerable person.
Yes. Yeah. And it's so beautiful that they want to give, but let's give to the right people.
People you met in person.
Yes. Well, thank you guys so much for being on this episode.
Yeah. Thank you. Happy Valentine's Day.
Yeah, happy Valentine's Day. The Investigation Game is brought to you by Workman Forensics. For more information on the business and its services, visit workmanforensics.com. Find us on social media on any social media platform at Workman Forensics. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, or topic ideas, please email us at podcast@workmanforensics.com. Thanks for listening.